Walks through how to create the graph for your Stoik lab. So as you'll see in Lab Calculation Help, the document that's posted to Classroom, this is how you should be setting up your file, okay? So in cell 1A, you should have moles of whatever your independent variable is. Then in 1B, you should have moles of CO2, 1C, moles of CO2 as well, actual yield and then theoretical yield. Okay, so let's go ahead and just set this up in a blank data table. Okay, so moles of whatever your independent variable is, okay, in 1A, and then moles of CO2, actual yield, and then moles of CO2 theoretical. Okay, I'm just going to kind of make up some numbers here. So 12, 16, and 19. Again, I'm just making up numbers. These numbers should look nothing like the numbers you have. You should have very small decimal point numbers. 10, 13, and let's say 16. Okay, so I have my numbers. I have my units that are in these cells and not in my data cells. You'll notice my data cells only have numbers. Okay, then I highlight all of these, and to highlight, you click on one of the corners of where your data cells are, and then you just kind of highlight over. Then insert chart. Okay, and if you look over here, you should have scatter chart selected. Okay, so if that is not already selected, make sure that's selected. For your independent, or for your x-axis, you should have moles of your independent variable, and then you should have two data series here. Okay, if you do not have if you're missing a data series, you can always click here, and there will be options here. Okay. So I'm noticing I have a label here. I do not have a label on my y-axis, so I need to change that. I'm going to go over here to customize charts and axis titles. So my actual chart title also does not have what I need it to have, so I'm going to change that. So moles of CO2 versus moles of your independent variable, whatever your independent variable is. Okay, because remember, if we look back at this, your title needs to be dependent variable versus independent variable. Okay, so moles of CO2 versus moles of whatever your independent variable is. And then I want my vertical axis title, moles of CO2. Okay, and then this looks great. I want to leave these here because this is what actually shows, like, this dot is theoretical yield, this dot is actual yield. Okay, so you do need that information there. Okay, so then the next thing is, if I'm looking at my actual assignment, it says that I need to insert my data table and my graph into the lab report document. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here, and here's my lab report document. I just made a copy of the template, and I need to put those both into this specific section. So how do I do that? So what I'm going to want to do is for my chart, I just select, and then I copy, and I come over here and I paste. You can link to spreadsheet, or you can do unlink, it doesn't matter. Okay, and that will copy in. And again, double check that you have all of the different columns there. The next thing we need to do is we need to insert our graph. So I'm just going to go to insert and chart, and then from sheets, excuse me. Okay, I select the file where that chart is. I select my graph and it shows up. as long as it is linked, so this is showing that it's linked, as long as it's linked, any change you make in your spreadsheet will be reflected within this graph.